It's late June, and this week the weather has been all over the place. The UK weather went off the charts, and we all baked in record high temperatures, which was closely followed by X-Plane's real-time weather going offline. Thousands of simmers thought they'd never sim again. But here at the airline simmer, we kept our cool and successfully completed a flight using historic weather while enjoying the newly released update of the ToLiss A330neo. Do you want to see how I did it? Welcome to the channel. I'm going to go back to June the 13th when I flew this BA flight from Chicago over to Heathrow. A great time to test out the new update for the A330neo. Still got the flight in Navigraph charts. I'm just going to click on export, any file type, but I'm going to use the FMS type. Configure the date and weather options as shown. How about we use this BA livery on a 330neo I'm a fly?
Not realistic at all.
I'm a fly is not that keen. So we are going to load the route using the old-fashioned method. It just picks it up from there, as you can see, displays the waypoints. So those values that we've popped into init A, subject to change, and I'll explain why as we go along. Okay, so for reasons that we've spoke about, we are not using the SimBrief uplink today, just because the situation with the weather in X-Plane that would require us using real conditions. I'm going to use these historic conditions. So I'm going to enter a zero fuel weight. So nothing for me actually to do here. It's remembered my standard configuration of around about 170 tons. So that's my zero fuel weight payload of just over 35 tons. Remember to get your zero fuel weight centre of gravity if you're doing it this way, 22.8. Actually, I've just gone back to init A and entered the alternate Manchester because init B needs this in its computations around the alternate. So just going to plug in a few values here until the extra time is just slightly above zero. Okay, flight time 7 hours 45. What else does this need? Yep, you're going to need to factor in your en route winds. So all I'm going to put in the first waypoint is the average wind component for the flight. That is more than good enough to get the FMS to do an accurate indication as to what fuel we're going to need. So that goes in there. Back to init B, and we've shaved half an hour off the flight. We could look then at just reducing this down a little bit, and we'll settle on 47.3. The taxi fuel looks a bit high anyway. It's going to be a short taxi to runway 28 right. So we're going to go 47.3 here. Remember, you can just use the pop-out keyboard just to enter that value, and enter. Slow refuel if you want to simulate the fuel loading process. This is certainly not a tutorial as well in how to set up the aircraft. We're just going to show you this main part, show you the flight, a few little bits that are different in the latest update. So I know the last time I did this, somebody chose to mark me. They wrote my overall performance as unsatisfactory. So it was some kind of self-appointed forum, whatever they do, lurk or whatever. Yeah, apparently I could do better. I won't tell you what I just said when my microphone was on mute. Apart from, their opinion of me is not my business. I have been a fan of using this, so but as the EFB is entirely new, we will use the takeoff performance tab. Note, at the moment it's using the sensed overall gross weight. So again, we just entered in the value. What do you think I'm a fly about all this manual entry?
Too much hard work.
It's too much hard work to do it manually and to actually understand it. You do know though I'm a fly, don't you, that when you hit reset on here, it does actually populate this with the METAR. So that's one good thing, that's one less key for you to touch, isn't it? Now this page, it's important to realise, so this does base it from your takeoff weight. This is what it gets from init B. So it's in green because we can't overtype it. Temperature, again, that's what it's sensed, we can't overtype that. You can't actually overtype that but you'd vary that, of course, by twiddling your knob on the FCB or on the EFIS or 2992 or 1013. Just, of course, going with 2992 because we are, of course, in America. So let's request this. We'll request our figures. And when it does give you the values, again, all in green, can't change them, but you toggle between the max setting and the flex, just like that. And then, just for you Armafly, you can go and insert them. What do you think to that?
Not flying it.
Right, we'll stick with 350 then. Burn a fire. Of course, we're going to burn off a fair chunk of fuel anyway during the climb. Would you like to see a graph before we take off on how much fuel we're actually going to burn? Go on then, there it is. Let's just make a copy of that. So per page my side, because I'm doing the flying, and the legs page or the flight plan page on your side. Remember, this shows you your expected flight time until you start your engines. I think it's when you start your engines or when you shove toga or your takeoff power. I would ask Imafly, but I think they're away now looking for a new texture mod. Ain't that right, Imafly?
Yeah.
You can go in a few moments. Looks like refueling is almost done. Let's start the APU. So we'll just remove external power. We have, of course, switched those off on the overhead panel. So
okay, all doors and hatches are closed, ready to connect.
And remove the chocks as well. Before you remove the chocks, you will make sure that your parking brake is set and that you've got enough brake pressure. Very nice livery. So we're not yet at the top of climb, but I'm going to be going out shortly. So just to revisit the progress page, just want to make sure that the cruise altitude isn't higher or isn't even close to the recommended max. This is just because I base this on forecasts, so we need to give this a bit more margin than what you might do, say, if you generated your flight with SimBrief. So recommended max 386 cruise, that's fine, and the optimum only a few less than 2,000 feet above that, aren't we? So that's soon going to rise up to that, and we'll consider a step climb later when I'm full of beer and pizza. So can I leave you in charge, I'm a fly, and just monitor the fuel burn and things like that?
I want to go look around the cabin.
Minimum 100. 50, 40, 30, 20, retard, 10, 5. Auto brake off.